Hi everyone, this is Dave with Salty Cat Gaming. In today's episode, we're playing Don't Look Back by Blacksite Studio. We're playing one of their modified templates where called Don't Look Where's Pat, where you have a campground and you have a bunch of kids going to look for their missing friend and run into a killer, a very Jason-like killer. We're gonna modify a bit and have it be in a suburban neighborhood, and the storyline is gonna be more like there's a family get together and all of a sudden the lights go out, Pat goes missing, and as these two adults and two teenagers go looking for Pat, they realize that not only is everybody missing in the local neighborhood, there's also a killer about. And so the whole goal is going to be able to find Pat somewhere in the neighborhood and then survive and get away from the neighborhood, get back to their house before the killer can catch them. All right, so in today's episode, we're playing the Ranger Sandy, kind of the mom figure, Holden, kind of the father figure for this adventure, looking for Pat, and then we have Seth and Max, the teenagers. Our killer is very Jason-like. We're gonna use the railroad guy with the chainsaw. He's got it stalking MO. He's mutilated, so it's gonna be hard. Like the player characters are going to have to pass a test to actually attack him. He's going to appear suddenly very close to him, and he's basically inspires a lot of terror in them, even if they just see him. So they're going to be very afraid of him. Here's the board. Almost all the terrain on this board is Blacksite Studio, including the mat. The only thing that's not is, like last game, these pieces are Atomic Mass Games, who make their Marvel game, and the vehicles are all Mantic. And the trees I believe are foreground, but everything else, all the buildings and the mat are all Blacksite Studio, and we'll probably remove the tops of the buildings just to make it a little bit more playable as we go through. These two characters in front, the Ranger Sandy and Holden, they each have 4-inch move. We're just gonna do a double move. They both have guns, so there's no reason for them to search right now. Seth is gonna do. Actually, Max is going to move 8 as well and kind of just stick together. And then Seth is going to fall back a bit. Then Holden will do a search outside. So Holden's awareness is 13. He's searching outside, so technically it's a 16. So I just got to get below a 16. 5, that's great. So then let's see what he finds. He rolls a 9. So that'll be a weapon. And let's see which weapon he ends up with. 3, so he's going to get the bow. So coming outside, maybe he finds his father's bow just kind of laying on the ground. We'll give that to Seth. I'm sure he'll be great with it. And then that'll be the end of round 1. We don't have any lights on, so we don't have to worry about flipping them off and on. And there's no terror to check yet. So then we go to round 2. So we start with Fright phase again. So let's see what the fright tokens do. So in this phase, there's actually a better chance of them activating. And I believe... So a 9 means that it does activate. So then let's roll for the different fright tokens. So there's 1 here. 1 does nothing, it vanishes. So whatever that was, it went away. Let's roll for this one. 8 means it's going to move 6 inches directly towards us. So we'll use our handy dandy knife. So it's going to just move back in there. The 1 in the theater is going to move 4. So it also moves 6 inches. So we'll just have it come out about there. Then this one back here, 2. So it vanishes. Whatever those things were, whatever those bumps in the night were, they went away. The killer still doesn't appear because he hasn't been generated yet from the fright tokens. So then we still can't quite get to this token for an 8-inch move, but we'll go ahead and do a double move again. Maybe we'll space them out a bit just in case the killer does arrive. This won't be quite enough, so I'm not going to be able to get there. I think I can do it some space away, but we'll check. And then maybe I'll go ahead and have Maybe we'll split them up a bit just in case, you know, like in horror movies, I know you're not supposed to. Oh, I should check Max's move. Max's movement's 4. It's just Seth who's slow, and he should have been a 3-inch move last time, so that's fine, Seth. You're just carrying a lot of stuff, carrying a lot of burden, have that heavy bow. So we'll have you move up there and start heading towards the second point of interest. And then that will be it for turn 2. So didn't advance this last time. We have 14 rounds on turn 3. So let's see what happens to the fright tokens. If I find my D10. So they definitely activate. So let's roll for this one first. It could mean the killer is coming out. 5. It just moves 6 inches, so it's just going to move right next to me. This one, 7. It's just going to move again. 6 inches. And then I think those two are the only two we have left that we're tracking. So they activated. Killer phase. Killer's not out yet. So character phase. Fright phase is done. Killer phase, there's nothing. Survivor phase. So I need to spend 1 action to get here. That should be 2. So then Holden can make a awareness check to kind of scope out, you know, is Pat back here behind this car just hiding? So Holden's awareness is an 8. I need to get below an 8. 10. So he still hasn't found Pat yet. Ranger will move. We didn't do a jump scare, so we'll do a jump scare real quick for the Ranger. I forgot to do on Holden, but he's a little too close since he's already activated. So let's see. You got this close to the Bates house. What happens? 3. So a 3 is flickering light. We don't have any lights yet. We're searching in complete darkness, so nothing happens there. Now we go back to Max. Max, we'll have you just continue going. You're not going to wait for Seth. You're just plunging headlong into danger. Why wait for the guy with the actual weapon? So, well, I mean, I guess Seth has or Max has a bat. And Seth will do a double move. Alright, so that's the end of turn 3. We're going to hopefully investigate at least that 1 token next time. So we go to turn 4. Fright phase. So fright phase, we roll for all the tokens. Let's see if they activate. 10 plus, they are, whoop, rolled the wrong die. 3 plus on round 4, they don't activate this turn. And since they don't activate, we put 1 in, kind of building up the likelihood the killer is going to arrive at some point. Killer phase is done, so then we go to survivor phase. All right, so he's going to, I think he can do for search, he can take his first action to kind of like look around to get a bonus to his search, so he'll get a +3. He's going to get, I think it's a focus action. So that means he'll need an 11 or less. Great. So he definitely completes a search. Let's see if we actually find Pat, which I think is a... So let's see if we actually find Pat. So now that I've rolled successfully, let's see what I actually find there. So it's a D10. And on a 9, I find Pat alive. On an 8, you find Pat alive with just a twisted ankle. All characters are -1 movement for the rest of the plot. Add a fright token in the middle of table section A. So this is table section A. There's now a fright token right there. We found Pat. I don't have a good token for Pat. Well, actually, we can do we'll do a non-miniature token. So this becomes Pat. Then all the other fright points of interest go away. Yay, it's Pat. He's hiding behind the car all along. And we still haven't seen the killer yet. But everybody's -1 movement. So they need to all meet back here to get off the board. The killer hasn't arrived yet. Alright, since I found Pat, we can start moving the other characters back. This might be a really quick game. So, Ranger's going to take 8 inches back that way. Holden will take his 6 inches back here. And then our Seth will take his 6 inches. And then Max will come running back because he didn't see anything over by the cinema. All right, so that's those four. That's that phase. So we go to round 5. So to actually exit, I'm gonna have them get to here and come off the board with their escape plan. Basically getting away from the neighborhood. We don't have to move Pat. Now that we found him, he's just considered to be with us. So I'm just gonna pick up the Pat token. Oh, everybody was -1 movement. Let me move you all back 1 there. Actually, it'd be 2 because I did 2 movements. There. All right, great. So then fright tokens, round 5, they activate on a 4 up, I believe. 7, so they definitely activate. Let's see what this one does. 8. That's still not good enough for the killer. It's just going to move closer to us. 10. All right, killer is out. So we found Pat, but suddenly the killer arrives 6 inches away from someone who's closest to the center. So 6 inches is what? 1, 2, 3. So roughly there. So he has his chainsaw out. He knows you found Pat. He was doing that just to lure us all outside. He'll activate now because it's the killer phase. Everybody within line of sight. So I think that's everybody. Like, I don't think actually Holden can't see him, but I think it's these 3. All 3 of them get a fright token or terror token because they just saw him arrive. So let's mark these down. I still got my old game on here. So terror for when the killer arrives. So then he moves. The killer gets +1 movement per terror. So, and it says they normally get +1, and then his visage, like his benefit gets +1. So I think it might actually be +2 per point. And I kind of like the thought of him jumping out of nowhere and just catching Seth unawares, because he probably would have literally walked by him. So let's see how far he moves. He needs 4 inches is not actually good enough to get within that close to Max. So I'm sure Max is happy. However, the killer does have the ability, so even if he doesn't close this gap to be able to attack, he can still do damage to everybody within 2 inches. So he has 2 attacks. He attacks one person directly, and then all other characters not targeted by his main attack within 2 inches of a mutilated killer take 1 injury. So Seth's automatically going to take 1, or it's not Seth, I keep calling Max Seth. I'm sure he'd love that. So Max is going to automatically take 1 injury. And maybe that's just that chainsaw swinging around so randomly it just nicks Max. Then it's character's turn. So I still need to get off the board. I need to at least get 3 characters. Seth, you are going to move. I'm kind of tempted just to leave Max behind and get everyone off the board. So let's just see what happens. So Seth, we'll move you 4 inches down here. And then, do I take a pot shot with the bow? Seth, I think you just run away. You're the scared nerd. I think we're just going to kind of come around here and stop. The park ranger, she can move 6, but that's her, she has to protect. If this is, I don't know if Max is her kid, but she's got to protect him. She's a park ranger. So she's armed with a revolver. And she's got, she only has range. No, yeah. So she's armed with a revolver. And she's got she's actually a really decent shot with it. She's a combat 15. So she has to make an awareness check first because he's mutilated. So just to even look at him, she fails her awareness check. So she can't target him. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. So she tries to do something and can't. And then Holden, you're the other adult. So I think you'd really move out to try to save the kids. So, more than likely Pat's already running away from the chainsaw wielder. So we'll have you move out here. You do move within line of sight though, so you will get your 1 point of terror. Oh, so I was doing the line of sight thing. It's whenever they activate, they get 1 point of terror within line of sight. But that's fine. We'll just keep 1 point on all of them. That was my turn. So now we go to turn 6. All right. So then we check everybody's fright level, but everybody's pretty okay. We only got terror of 1. on every character, although that will go up to 2 this round. And we only really need to worry about terror if it's double the fright value. So right now they're fine. We go to fright phase. So let's see if the fright tokens activate. Turn 6 and above, we always roll fright tokens, so they're definitely going to activate, and there's only 2 left. So if this rolls a killer, there's a chance he'll become enraged, which means he just attacks more. So we did. And this is, I think it has to be like, we have to, we roll a d10 if the result is equal to the killer's current injuries. So the killer hasn't been injured, so if I roll a 10 again, okay. So it's not. Otherwise, he would have become enraged and would have basically got a bonus attack. I was incorrect. So on a roll of 10, he actually does become enraged. Any other roll, he basically would have been moved to base-to-base contact. So he's now enraged, and that means that he'll critical on a 1 and 3 instead of a 1. And he needs a token to represent his enrage. So, I don't know. He's enraged. There's a skull. He's like, "Hurrah! Damn you kids for tormenting me over these years." All right, and then we have this one. Let's see what this one does. 9. Actually, that one does activate again. We'll roll on him for the second time. I mean, he's already enraged. So he's not going to get enraged again. So fright phase is done. Then we generate... Oh, we forgot this one. Because it's hiding in the house. Let's see what it does. 10. Again... Can't really enrage. However, because we don't have any fright tokens down, we'll be adding 2 more back to the map. So we got 1 in their house and 1 back at the burned house. I kind of like to think that the killer actually came from this house, and like maybe some family was like fixing it up or something, and something they disturbed the killer, and now like that's the killer's truck in the back. He's taking out on everybody in the local neighborhood. Okay, so that was the fright phase. We go to the killer phase. He's going to move 1d10. So 4, and he goes to the person with the most injuries, but this close, like, how can he not go for max? So he would have gone 5, so he gets there. And then he gets to make his attack versus max. So he has a combat 15. 2. He actually criticals. Since he rolled a critical, he normally would do 3 points of damage. However... in this case, he doubles his damage. So he does 6 points as he revs his chainsaw, attacking Max. So Max, you actually didn't have a wound before, so this... Oh, no, you did. That's right. So you're going to take 6 points. You have... I think they all have, actually, 10 points of wounds. Man, Max, that's pretty horrifying, taking all that damage. So that's pretty bad. So Max is almost dead. So Max is going to make a stumble away action, bleeding profusely from the chainsaw. And he's going to move 2 inches. Then he has to make a trip check, which is an awareness for him. Oh, 3, so he's fine. And then he's going to spend his next one to move 6 and move farther away from the killer. All right, then Seth, you're a scaredy cat. You're not going to activate within line of sight. Oh, but Max did. So Max gets another terror. Let's mark that down. There's too much glare in this room. Then Seth's going to move off the board because he's running away from the killer. We'll have Ranger Sandy. She's going to move 4 inches out of the way, hoping that Max can get away. Since she activated, she also gets a fright token, or terror token. And then she's going to try and make an awareness check to shoot at him. So, let's see what I roll. 12. Her awareness, I believe, is 11. So she still can't shoot. She's still shaking in fear. She's got a revolver shaking, and she stares at him, can't believe what she's seeing. Good old Holden. Got that double barrel shotgun. He's going to get a terror token. Let's see if he can shoot at him, though. He can't. They're both too scared. So Holden gets another point of terror, but we're also going to have Holden back up 6 inches and kind of like, we're just trying to get them as close to the board as possible. Only 3 need to get off the board, but we're trying to see if we can still save Max. All right, turn's done. Pat, we're going to say, also ran off of Seth, and then we go to turn 7. Fright phase. So the fright tokens automatically activate. So let's see what the one in the house does. It does a 7, which means it's just going to move. It's just going to move 6 inches. So we'll just put it there. This one over here, 10. So this will vanish, and then let's see if the killer is enraged or not. 7. So he actually will move to the closest one. I'm sorry, it's not base to base. It's placed outside the front arc, and then base to base. Actually, it's the most isolated, but in this case, they're all kind of isolated. Let's say it's Holden, because he was the farthest over here. So the killer vanishes, as Jason often does. Mutilate killer. And all of a sudden, he's behind Holden. It is dark. Maybe he ran around the side and is a lot quicker than everybody else. He won't attack this turn, though. So that's the killer's phase. And then we go to the survivors. I think Max is going to go. Max, if he moves twice, could potentially trip. So we're not going to move twice. We're just going to move once and just kind of try to slowly saunter off the game board. So he will go up 1 on his Max, will go up 1 on his terror. So he goes up to 3. And then I don't think I did Holden for last turn, so let's make sure he has 1 too. So he only trips. I could take a second action, and if I would be successful, he would make it off the board. And I think that's what I should do. But because he has 3 terror tokens on him, he'll trip on a 1 to 3. So let's see if he can make that second movement. Okay, so 12. So we're going to have him exit the board, running away. So then I really just need to get one of these. And if I wanted to, I could probably just have Sandy run away right now. But let's see what Holden's going to do in this little confrontation. So Holden, you activate next. He's going to use a double barrel. He doesn't suffer any minuses from shooting in close, which kind of makes sense. I always was kind of curious why you can't use a ranged combat in certain, or ranged weapon in some combat systems. So he's going to fire his gun. Holden's combat's 12. And he can... Well, I was hoping he maybe had like an ability to fire both barrels, but he doesn't. So he hits. Normally he would do 5 damage, but or D5. So it's -2 for a minimum 1. So that's what? That's 4 minus 2. So he does 2 damage. And then it's kind of useless to stumble away. I think he's just going to stay there. And then the ranger's turn. I mean, honestly, I think at this point she'll get 1 terror, but she's just going to wander off. So after that, well, let's see if Holden can get away. So I've won the game because I got 3 off the board, but I would like for Holden to still survive. He gave his life for the family. So next turn, we see what the fright tokens do. We get the 1 in the house. So that is a 9. So let's see if the killer becomes enraged. 6, he doesn't. He's just in base to base. And then we have, I thought we still had another one on the board, but we don't. So that means that after this, we add another 2. And then the killer phase, so he's going to do an attack with his chainsaw. 9, he hits, that's 3 points of damage on Holden. And then no slashing blades because it's everybody else besides the main target, and there's nobody else here. So Holden, your family's gone. Let's get you off the board. It's too bad you couldn't just jump in a car and get away. So we're going to fall back like 2 inches. We're going to make an awareness check. Otherwise I trip. Ooh. Can I use a luck point? Is that a thing that I can use? Holden, you do have luck of 2. So normally he would trip. Holden's going to use one of his luck points to reroll. And his awareness is only 8, so this is not the best. He fails. I don't think there's anything in here that says I can only use 1 luck point. Oh, only 1 done per turn. Failed out. So he falls. He trips. He takes 1 point of damage. So he's suffering. So he can spend a second action, though, to get back up. No, he spent his first action shooting. So yeah, he's stuck. He fell over. So that was turn 7. 8 fright tokens, which really don't matter as much unless there's a critical here that's going to happen. 9, so let's see if that triggers, what that triggers on the killer. 4, so he's going to snap to Holden, so he doesn't even have to move to get him. And then this one, 3, I believe 1 to 3 it disappears. Yeah, so 1 to 3 it disappears. He's going to attack Holden again. He's got, that chainsaw is like a 15 hits, does another 3 damage. So Holden is barely holding on. Holden's turn. First action, get up. Second action, stumble away. Let's see if we can make an awareness check. 6. He made it. So he doesn't fall, but because he had to spend an action standing up and then another action stumble away, he's only right here. So we'll say he has to get here to get off the board. He does get another terror point, which is really building. He's not quite double where he's going to start suffering from minuses, but the killer does get a additional benefit to attack. So let's see if the killer, getting ahead of myself. Next phase. 9 fright tokens. Where are you, fright tokens? There's none on the board. Oh, that's right. 2 of them went away. So there should be 1 back here and 1 over here. So let's see what happens to this one. Goes away. That one just moves 6 inches. So let's put it there. Killer. His bonus to movement because of damage, he's just going to get right here. Like, this is going to be pretty hard for Holden to survive. Killer's going to attack. Hits. Does another 3 damage. And that will finish Holden off since he only had 2 points of life. So Holden doesn't escape. He gave his life so that his family could get away. But we do win the scenario since we got 3 of them off the board of Pat. But the mutilated killer did claim Holden. Wow, that went really quick. If you haven't played this game, I'd really suggest you play it. It's a fun intro game to miniatures, especially if you're, for your friends. It's been a great way for me to introduce the game to my board game group, and my wife enjoyed playing it. It has nice, quick, easy rules, and the most important things I find for board game groups, especially or for people learning it, is not just ease of use, but quick games. And that one went really quick, mainly because the killer, he didn't arrive until the very end, but he made a really good dramatic appearance. We found Pat, the killer arrived. He arrived screaming, running after Max. We were able to easily get Seth off the board. Pat, of course, went off the board. Max, I thought was going to die, but it was only really the intervention of Holden that prevented that from happening. Ranger Sandy didn't really do too much. She got a little too frightened, but she too was able to get off the board. The game was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised how quickly it went. And this is the first game I've played that didn't have a scenario generate the killer, and it was really based on the terror tokens. And as you can see, the terror tokens are your primary way of summoning the killer. So it did take a bit. I was kind of surprised on a 3x3 board. I think if I played it again, I'd probably put the first token a little farther away just to ensure that the killer has a much better chance of getting out. I was a little afraid towards the end that I would just not roll a killer, which I don't know. I'll have to look at the rules to make sure that's possible. But I didn't see anything in this scenario that would trigger them. Had a lot of fun. Tempted to play again on this board, but I think I will do another game that they have an alien scenario I talked about. So I got the alien crash ship set up. It's done in the woods. So we'll try that one out. Actually, I may just change this board up with the crashed alien ship, and maybe we'll do it in the neighborhood again. We'll see. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Please like, comment, let me know especially if I'm doing something wrong in the game. And if you haven't played this game, I really recommend you check it out. All right, thanks everybody.